Hello and welcome to Curantis Health. We are so happy to have you as part of our team here, and one of the first things that we are going to do to help get you on board is walk through your orientation packet together. The HR person that's been helping you today should have given you a packet that looks like this. It says Caregiver Policies and Procedures on the front of it. We're going to walk through this together during this video, and then afterwards you will return the packet to your HR person, and she or he can answer any additional questions you may have after the video is over. So turning to the first page, the first two pages actually contain our Caregiver Orientation Top 10 quiz. You will want to keep the quiz in mind as you watch the video, and at the end of the video you'll come back to this quiz and complete it before turning the packet in to your HR person. You are welcome to pause the video, to rewind it, to skip around as much as you need to after we're done in order to get the quiz properly completed. At the end of the video, after you've completed the quiz, you'll turn in the quiz along with the entire rest of the packet to the HR person that has been helping you today. There are some documents in the packet that you'll need to keep with you ongoing. However, initially you'll return the entire packet to your HR person, and then he or she will give you copies of the documents that you need to keep with you from here on out. So skipping over the orientation quiz for now, but being mindful of it, you will see the employment eligibility verification form. By filling out this form, you are simply verifying that you are legally able to be employed in the United States. So please take a moment, pause the video, and complete this page. After you've completed the employment eligibility verification form, you will see your W-4 form, which takes up the next two pages of your packet. You're responsible for completing this second half of the first page, and the W-4 form, of course, is important to the federal government. It lets them know how much money they need to take out of your paycheck for taxes. So the way that you complete this bottom section of the page will determine how taxes are taken out of your paycheck throughout the year. So the more exemptions that you indicate, the less money that will be taken out of your paycheck throughout the year. And the fewer exemptions you indicate on this form, the more money that will be taken out of your paycheck, every paycheck throughout the year. At the end of the day, it comes out in a wash. If you select more exemptions, and if you indicate more exemptions and end up paying less throughout the year, you will end up paying more come tax season. Whereas if you indicate fewer exemptions here and pay in more throughout the year, then when tax season rolls around, you will pay in less. So it comes out in the wash eventually. But it just depends on your personal preference how you would like your taxes to be paid. So please pause the video now and complete the W-4 form. After you're done completing the W-4 form, you will see our caregiver agreement. We're going to go through this briefly together. However, once we've gone through this, you may want to pause the video and read through this more carefully before signing and dating, because when you sign this agreement, you are really making a commitment to the job, and we want you to know what you are committing to. So after we go through this, you will want to pause and read through it carefully on your own. Number 1, proprietary information. As a caregiver with Curantis, you'll be privy to a lot of confidential information regarding our agency and regarding the people that we serve, regarding our clients. You are, by signing this agreement, you are agreeing that at all times and in all circumstances, you will keep such information confidential. And you are recognizing that you understand that not doing this, not keeping those pieces of information confidential, could result in termination of your employment with Curantis. Number 2, solicitation. By signing the caregiver agreement, you are agreeing that during the period of time that you work with Curantis and up to a year later, You will not work privately for any clients that you serve through Curantis. You may hit it off really well with several of your clients. They may really come to like you, and we hope that that happens. However, if they ask you to work for them privately during days or hours that you're not working officially for Curantis, this is not something that we allow until your employment with Curantis has been terminated for 1 full year. There will be a minimum of a $10,000 fine if that portion of this agreement is breached. So please be aware of that. Position duties, procedures, and responsibilities. By completing this agreement, you are agreeing that you've had at least 2 years 2 years prior experience targeted towards seniors in the following. I'm going to quickly list them: companionship and conversation, bathing, dressing, grooming, light housekeeping, Alzheimer's and dementia care, meal planning and preparation, running errands, medication reminders, laundry and linens, incontinence care, and reloading a feeding tube. If we discover that you have falsely provided us this information, if you've not actually had that 2 years prior experience, then you may be subject to termination for providing false information. Turning the page, all caregivers will be in service and introduced to our free products and services that we offer here at Curantis Health at Home. We encourage you to visit the website, learn about these offerings so that you can comfortably speak to our clients about them, or even our clients' family members about them. The offerings are the Bay Alarm Medical. It's a personal alarm setup. It's plugged in the client's home for 24/7 monitoring. It's no cost to the client. The Gentile barrier creams, these are non-prescription creams used on patients with incontinence or those who are at high risk. And Transamerica Financial is a free review of the clients or members of their family regarding a financial review. Caregivers are not responsible to talking about financial situations, but you need to be aware that we offer this so that you can make it known and offer a specialist if they're interested. Again, please view the website and become more familiar with these 3 things. This is just a quick overview. Additionally, our caregivers, by signing this form, are agreeing that you are agreeing that you will perform at minimum all the duties outlined above, the ones that I just mentioned, and you are also acknowledging that you're willing to travel within the boundaries of Curantis Health at Home. Our service area is a 55-mile radius of Denver, Colorado, so you are agreeing that you're willing to drive potentially 55 miles there and back to an assignment given by us with a minimum of a 2-hour shift a day, and you are agreeing that you are responsible for paying all of your commuting expenses as well. You're also agreeing that you understand that we run a 24/7 business that requires immediate response to client care needs, and therefore our caregivers agree to be called upon any time of the day or night and any day of the week regarding getting scheduled with a client on a job. You're agreeing that the contact phone number that you provide for us is the best contact number for us to reach you on. This is really important. You need to update the company if your phone number changes, because we do need to be able to get a hold of you at a moment's notice at any time of day. You are acknowledging by signing this form that you understand that providing caregiver services is part of a healthcare related field, and care needs to be provided on a 24/7 basis, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You need to be prepared that you may be receiving a phone call. You understand that you need to have a very flexible schedule and be willing to go with the flow when necessary. You are agreeing to work any shifts assigned to you up to 40 hours a week, no matter what the days and hours that the shifts are, as long as the work assignments are in the specified client service area. You understand that you may be, again, required to travel up to 55 miles each way for a 2-hour shift, and then to travel, of course, another 55 miles to another shift somewhere else. So you need to be prepared potentially for a lot of driving. We cannot predict that you'll have the same amount of hours every week and the same hours every week. For instance, you may not work 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. You could have some really funky hours one week and a lot of hours one week, and then not so many the next week. We work in a field where our schedules are always changing and it's very unpredictable. There may be gaps of time where you have one client who stops receiving services before we fill in that gap with a new client, and you may have fewer hours during that time. So although we try our best to give our caregivers the amount of hours that they want, you need to prepare financially and personally that there may be weeks when that does not happen. By signing this form, you are you're acknowledging that you understand that any form of dishonest act or criminal offense is strictly prohibited here at Curantis Health at Home and will result in termination from Curantis. Also, accepting or taking money from clients is strictly prohibited. This sounds silly, but as you form relationships with clients, they may not give you money, but they may try to give you material things, possessions, and you are not able to take these. You'll simply have to explain to them that crosses a professional boundary line that you are unable to cross, and that you're honored for the thought, but you cannot accept the gift. If we find that you have taken money or possessions from a client, then this could potentially result in termination. If you are not willing to travel at least 55 miles each way to a work assignment that has a minimum of a 2-hour shift during a 24-hour period, or if you're not willing to work potentially irregular on-call hours as needed, or if you disagree with the performance improvement program or with any other item that we've gone over in this section, then you should not sign this agreement. That's why we've gone over it. That's why you'll want to go over it again before signing. Please make sure that you're very comfortable with what you're signing before you sign it. So again, please pause the video right now, read through this section again, and if you feel comfortable and confident that this is something that could be a good fit for you, at that point, please sign and date the bottom. Otherwise, if there is something that you're not comfortable with, you're welcome to stop the orientation now and speak with the HR person and explain that this may not be a good fit. Moving on to our caregiver agreement, automobile use. You'll again date and sign the top. And this is pretty simple and straightforward. Number one, the use of an insurance coverage on the applicant's automobile. You are agreeing that you will provide your own transportation and that it will be in good driving condition, it will be well maintained, and that you will also maintain automobile insurance as required by the state of Colorado. And you will keep up to date on your insurance during your time here at Curantis. Number two, release from liability. In consideration of working on a company assignment, you are assuming all risk of accident and casualties arising from being in the vehicle. You or your executors, your administrators, your legal representatives, whomever are not able to hold Curantis Health at Home liable for any incidences that may occur. Additionally, you are certifying by signing this agreement that you will not drive a Curantis Health at Home client's vehicle without them having gone through the proper steps in order to allow that. So they need to have a Curantis Health at Home liability waiver signed, and that needs to be done through the office before you can drive them in their vehicle. Until that happens, you need to use your vehicle only. Turning the page, you will again see a place where you need to sign and date. If you agree with everything in the automobile agreement, then you can sign and date now. If you'd like to pause to read that agreement more closely, you are welcome to do that now as well. On the next page, you will see our caregiver guidelines, and again, I am going to go over most of these very briefly and then pause the video and have you look through them more carefully on your own before moving forward. This is a pretty broad overview. It's really impossible to set forth the list of all the activities that are considered to be illegal or not acceptable to good business practices, but this is a good guideline, a good outline for you to follow. Number 1, commitment. Curantis Health at Home provides needed services to such a special and such a vulnerable part of the population. And our clients depend upon our caregivers. Our seniors have family members who depend upon our caregivers, and often our seniors' family members are the ones paying us. So we have a lot of people depending on our caregivers to provide quality service. So this means it's incredibly important for you to follow through on your commitment once you've accepted the job, which in turn means that you'll need to schedule your own personal commitments around your commitment to your clients and to Curantis. It is not well received by our clients to have random people showing up at their doors every time they're expecting a caregiver. They like to see the same person consistently. They like that comfort, they like that reliability, and we like to give that to them. So if you are planning a vacation, the office needs a written notice at least 2 weeks in advance. If it is any less than 2 weeks in advance, your vacation request will not be granted. And this is because we need time to work out a fill-in caregiver. We don't want people constantly requesting vacation time or time off because we do want our caregivers to be able to establish rapport with the clients that they're working with. So if you are planning a vacation, we do need to know at least 2 weeks in advance, and we need that notice in writing in order for it to be approved. Number 2, notifying the office. You'll see a telephone number is listed here for you. You will want to either save this number into your phone, memorize it, jot it down, stick it in your wallet, have this number with you at all times. And it's important that the office be notified immediately if a client requests a change in the types of services that we are providing to them. For instance, if you as the caregiver have been doing grocery shopping for that client or light housekeeping, and they suddenly ask for help with personal care, medication reminders, that kind of thing, that's something that the office needs to be made aware of so that their care manager can be made aware of that and so that their plan of care can be changed accordingly. There are a lot of things that may need to happen at that point. So you need to notify the office if a client requests a change in the type of services that they are being provided. If any significant changes in a client's condition occur, for instance, if the client passes away or if the client is hospitalized, the office needs to know that. And if the client tries to either schedule a new shift directly with you or cancels a shift that they've already scheduled with you, the office needs to know that as well. And we'll talk a little bit more about seniors trying to change appointments at last minute later on in the orientation. Number 3, sick time off. Caregivers who take sick time off will not be eligible for their month's bonus compensation, which we'll also talk about a bit more here in a little while. Additionally, caregivers who want to take sick time off must call at least 24 hours before their shift is scheduled to start to notify the office that they will not be able to work. Failure to call the office 24 hours prior to the beginning of your shift will result in a $75 penalty, which would be taken from the next month's bonus. And that would be in addition to not getting the current month's bonus because you're clearly taking sick time. Turning the page, you'll see number 4, no call, no show. This is very simple. This is not something that we tolerate at Curantis. So if a caregiver does not call the office to explain why they're going to be late or why they're going to be absent from work and they simply do not show up, they will be subject to immediate termination. This is just something that we can't tolerate. It's difficult to provide quality care and maintain a wonderful reputation in the community when we have caregivers who don't show up when they're supposed to. So this is something that we do not take lightly and we do not tolerate it. Number 5, arriving on time to scheduled shifts. Again, this is such a big part of providing quality care, and it's something that we put a lot of emphasis on. Because as I mentioned before, oftentimes there are more people than just the senior depending on our caregivers to be on time. Oftentimes family members take care of the senior while a caregiver is not there, and if a family member is waiting for a caregiver to arrive so that that family member can go to work, but the caregiver is 30 minutes late, then that means that that family member is 30 minutes late for work also. So there are many people depending on our caregivers to be on time. Caregivers should always arrive on time to their clients' homes. If this means that you're going to a new client's home tomorrow and you've never been to that area of town before, you're not sure where it is, you may need to take an hour out of your schedule tonight and drive to that client's home so that you know exactly where to go tomorrow. And it seems like a hassle, but it is worth it. It's worth it to ensure that when you are supposed to be there tomorrow, you are there. If you arrive more than 30 minutes late to a client, then you will be penalized $75, which will be deducted from the current month's bonus. A second offense would result in a $100 fine, which would also be taken from the bonus, and then a third offense could potentially result in termination from Curantis. So we take being on time very seriously. If you have an emergency and you're going to be more than 1 hour late to a client, you need to call both the client and the office supervisor as soon as possible to let everyone know. Let the client know, let the office know. You need to do this before your shift starts. Tell them what the emergency situation is and tell them how late you're going to be. If you're having car trouble, we can send someone to come pick you up. So you need to contact both the office and the client immediately if you are going to be more than 60 minutes late to an appointment. If you don't call the office and you have an emergency and you're more than an hour late, then this will result again in the $75 penalty, which would be deducted from the current month's bonus. Number 6, employment termination. We certainly hope that Curantis Health is a great fit for you and vice versa, but we also understand that people's lives change, their plans change, and you may need to quit working for us at some point. When that does happen, you will need to give a 2 weeks written notice to us. This allows us time to find someone to fill in for you, to make sure that your clients are taken care of. If you do not provide at least 2 weeks written notice prior to leaving Curantis, then you will not get your monthly bonus for the month prior to termination. Number 7, flexibility and willingness. A successful caregiver is someone who can be flexible both with clients and with coworkers. We provide a service that cannot be adequately outlined on paper. We cannot explain to you everything that you will be doing. It would just be impossible. So we want our caregivers to have kind of a go with the flow attitude and have a willingness to meet the reasonable requests of clients. Number 8, workload. As I mentioned earlier, the number of clients that we serve here at Curantis Health at Home changes constantly. So again, there may be gaps in time when you have clients in services before we find new jobs for you and you have fewer hours than you'd like. We try to give you as many hours as you need, but we just cannot guarantee this consistently. So again, you'll want to plan ahead financially, plan ahead personally for those slow times that may occur. Number 9, requirements. These are some guidelines of how we want our company represented, how we want you represented in the community is very important to us here at Curantis because you are a reflection of us. So we have some expectations that we want to lay out very clearly for you, and you will please take some time to get really familiar with these. You may even want to display them somewhere until you can remember what they are. So I'll have you pause the video now and read through number 9, read through each of the requirements carefully before moving on. After you have read through number 9 and become familiar with those requirements, I do want to say one last thing just to remind you that our clients come from all different backgrounds, all different cultures. They have different religious beliefs, different political opinions, and we need to respect each of these. It's so important that we don't express any opposition. We inevitably will disagree with someone, but we do not have to make that known. We don't need to educate them about our opinions and why our opinions are better than theirs. Please don't initiate these conversations, particularly about religious or political topics. You may find that you have clients that will initiate them and they enjoy these kinds of conversations, and that's fine, but use your discretion and always treat our clients with dignity and with respect that they deserve. Turning the page, you will see our applicant pay procedures. You will follow the agency's instructions for logging in and out of the timekeeping system via the telephone, and your manager or your HR person will go over that with you after the video is over in greater detail, and they will provide you the instructions that you will need in order to clock in and out via the telephone. And that will all happen before you leave today, but we will not go over it in this video. I do want to outline the holidays. The holidays that are listed here are holidays that if you work during these holidays, pay is time and a half of the regular rate. These holidays include New Year's Eve and Day, Easter Sunday, Memorial Day, July 4th, Labor Day, Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, and Christmas Day. Contacting the office after hours and on weekends and holidays, there is a telephone number listed here which gives you the number to our client services supervisor. You will need to call this number if you have a situation arise, if an accident or injury occurs that's during holidays or weekends or after office hours, if you are in an accident on the way to work and will not be able to make it on time, and if this happens, you'll need to not only call, but when you do get into work, you'll need to show evidence of the accident that occurred. If you're in a situation and you really need advice from us, and we're not in the office, and it just cannot wait until tomorrow morning or after the holidays, then you would need to call the client services supervisor. When you're in doubt, err on the side of caution and just make the call. It's always better to be safe than sorry. If the supervisor does not answer the phone, you'll simply leave a detailed message and leave a good phone number, a phone number where you can be reached so that we can call you back as soon as possible. You'll turn the page now and you will see our regular office hours, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. We are closed on New Year's Eve and Day, Memorial Day, July 4th, Labor Day, the day before Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving Day, Christmas Eve, and Easter Sunday. Now, paydays, I'm sure that these are of special interest to you. Our paydays are on the 15th of the month and on the last day of the month. So either the 15th, always the 15th, and either the 30th or the 31st. A paycheck issued on the 15th covers the 16th through the end of the prior month, and paychecks issued on the last day of the month cover the 1st through the 15th of the current month. So there's kind of a 2-week gap between when you're getting paid and the hours that you're getting paid for. Our bonus policy that you've heard a bit about: applicants who do not take sick days and who arrive on time to their scheduled shifts receive an additional hourly bonus for all hours worked during that month. It's estimated that it comes out to be about $1.50 per hour, so that's pretty good. Applicants who refer a new client who stays with us for at least 3 months will receive a $300 bonus paid directly to their current paycheck. And if you